From close quarters, what I have learned, since first we are all human beings, then the roles we play comes. So therefore I thought, though these are all fundamentals, that experience helped me to recapitulate all these things. So I thought I'll spend 5 minutes on this. One thing I see in close quarters is the executives, the leaders who had this kind of a humility could handle the situation much better. But those who were in cloud nine thought their excellent positioning, designation, handful of salary, and nothing to beat them or compete them. They were literally flying. They found it difficult to cope up with the situation. They were the worst. They collapsed almost. They found it difficult to recover. And similarly, coupled with that is the second point. Many of us, unfortunately, especially when we are growing or we are becoming more and more prosperous in terms of aiding capability, we do not think about the rainy day. We do not plan for the worst scenario at all. We think it is not in the near future. It's a long way to go. And but ideally, the best scenario for any individual is right from the inception, in however small measure, if only you can secure your future, your family. That is, at any given point of time when we stop earning, either voluntarily or under compulsion or due to extraneous factors, or by natural, whatever be the reason, still whether the family or the dependents are secured. That thought process I think is very, very important. I picked it up in close quarters because I've seen executives, I was telling you, they were shattered lot from all angles. Now I'll tell you what I noticed. See, when the confession was disclosed to stock exchanges and directors at 10 a.m. in the morning in India, it was 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in some parts of Europe, depending on where the Satyam employees were sleeping in the hotel room. The reception calls them within half an hour and says, your credit cards have been deactivated. So either you'll have to check out or deposit in euros. Some of those guys, had to literally walk in that snow, minus 10 degrees, to get help. And so starting from there back home, Satyam ID card is a premium identity in any joint, eating restaurant, anywhere you go. But after that, even employees were shy of saying that they were employees of Satyam. Neighbors instructed their children not to play with the children of the Satyam. And when they walked into a social function, everybody gave way. Not because he is a VIP, but nobody wanted to recognize that he is known to them. So all these things they had to undergo for no fault of this. And especially the finance guys. They are the worst. So therefore, and they did not know whether the job is secured by end of January, whether the salary for that month will come, and whether the post-dated checks given for housing loan, automobile loan, will it get honored. And they wanted some funds for some marriage in the family that is lined up, or some higher education for the kith and kin. And they knew they had 6-7 crores saved out of their past earnings. And they look back, where are those savings? Suddenly they realize they are all in ESOPs of Satyam. Locked in. Again, fundamentally wrong. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket. But it happened. Because you take things for granted. So that is where some element of caution as to how we will have to plan our affairs and guide our future. That matters the most. In fact, one executive told me, few months back, when I read the story of AIG or Lehman Brothers, it made an interesting reading. Employees coming to the streets in New York and shouting for their salary. Least I realized that I'll be in the same situation few months down the line. So that's how scenario can change overnight, and we'll have to be prepared. Another thing I noticed is, I think in human life, opportunities keep knocking, temptations also keep leaning on the doorbell. To which one we should respond, which one we should refuse to respond, the choice is left to us. So that's why it's always important that we don't give up our resolute approach for temptations, to accommodate temptations, but identify only opportunities and work upon them. I think that makes world of difference. Then it doesn't matter whether you are 4th in India or 40th in India. So long as you can sleep well, it doesn't matter, isn't it? But so that's why when you are not answerable to your conscience, but you think you are answerable to the market. You are answerable to somebody who has positioned you in some slot. Then you start compromising, and that is a dangerous situation. And best philosophy is to love people, use wealth at our disposal, and thereby live beyond our age. Everybody is destined to live up to a certain age. Fortunately, we don't know up to what age. That is the wonder of the creation. But all of us can live beyond the age up to which we are destined to live. Because, and how we can live beyond the age? First 25 years we learn. Next 25, 30 years we earn. But the accomplishment comes in sharing what we have learned and what we have earned. And if by doing that we touch as many lives as possible, I think we'll continue to live in the hearts of all those people whom we have touched. And if this rule is slightly reversed, that is, I'll use the wealth, instead of using the wealth and loving people, I'll use the people, accumulate wealth, and I will love that wealth and continue to love the wealth. That is where I think things can go wrong. And in life's balance sheet, there is no contra entry. Finance professionals will know in accountancy we have double entry system. Every debit must have a credit. But in life's balance sheet, in life's books of accounts, it is not as if you have done 10 good things. You are allowed permission to do corresponding number of bad things. Hundreds of good things can be wiped out by just one bad conduct or occurrence. It can wipe out overnight. So therefore there is no contra entry in the life's books of accounts. And ability takes us to the top. Your sheer ability, commitment, capabilities takes us to the top. But you require integrity to stay there permanently. Otherwise the fall could be mightier and very worse. And the last thing I discovered, as the revival process was coming to an end, and being the finance person, I was authorizing release of checks to various service providers for legal advisors in US, in India, so on and so forth. So one finance executive turned to me and asked, "What is that you are going to take?" I said, what more I can ask for than this invaluable experience and the smiles on the faces of these 50,000 employees of Sati. But what I realized was, I asked some of the customers, who were tough customers, initially to convince. Later, of course, they joined in the celebration. I asked them, what changed your mind? Initially, you were reluctant to cooperate, but you came around after a few. What happened in between? Because I was not confident that we had such a persuasive skills. Something else also must have happened. I was surprised to listen to what some of them said. Yes, initially we wanted to terminate and migrate. But when we came to know that here are the 6 individuals who are otherwise busy, just by the call of the government have left everything and are focusing on reviving the company, just for the sake of the nation. And in the very first board meeting, it seems all of you have passed a resolution that whatever time it takes to revive Satyam, we will not take any compensation, even 1 rupee sitting fee. That we came to know and we were shocked, because this just cannot happen in our country. They confessed. They said maybe only in India it can happen. So therefore, that gave me this revelation that I think if you attempt with a good intention, with no personal gain or motive, but it is for the common good of the organization or the institution or whatever, general public good also, I think nothing is impossible.